Flight 95.7 this morning? Prepare for takeoff on 95.7 The Game. With Chad Dewing, Joe Fortenbaugh, and Lorenzo Neal.
And my Havogronic, too.
Now, it's the Flight 95.7 20 and 20 Tour. Live from Black Bear Diner in Pleasanton. Presented by S&M Moving Systems, the official moving company of 95.7 The Game. And by Oaklandish. Here's Flight 95.7.
All right, every morning at this time, we take a look at the lighter side of life in sports. Let's get to the Morning Missile.
It's the Morning Missile.
You boys know what makes this bird go up?
A few stories that put some lead in the pencil. Right now on Flight 95.7 on 95.7 The Game.
All right, I have tweeted out a picture of Lowe holding our new trophy. This is like our championship trophy to Larry O'Brien.
No question.
Sweet Lou Piniella, who's a good friend, plays golf with my dad. He's now a good friend of the show. He has come on and he shared stories about wieners and nuts, what they used to do in the minor leagues when they didn't have a lot of per diem. They would take the hot dogs, old donuts, they work them together, microwave them, and boom, you got a great snack for cheap. And Officer Pete, who is a great listener to the program, sitting over here to our right, out of ceramics, made a beautiful donut with frosting and the little sprinkles on top with a giant-sized wiener right through the center of the donut.
In the summer of 2004, I visited the Louvre in Paris. That's where this belongs. That's where this belongs.
That's art.
The Louvre in Paris in its own room, like the Mona Lisa.
I'm looking at this right now. I don't remember posing for Officer Pete, but this looks about right.
Joe, when you said you worked in the minors, was G a lot of these wieners and
nuts?
And nuts?
Yeah, I wasn't a minor league player. I just worked in the minors, so I got whatever would be the step below wieners and nuts.
Spam.
I worked for the same team.
Peanut shells that were left over on the ground after the game.
I worked in the minors, too, for the Portland Beavers, same team that
How's your water? Is it good?
It was the ice. Ice spot.
I worked in the minors, too, like Joe did, for the same team that Sweet Lou played for, and I don't remember any wieners and nuts. But if you don't know what we're talking about, here is Sweet Lou on the show explaining wieners and nuts. Take a listen.
Well, when you're in the minor leagues back then, you got about $7 or maybe $8 a day for your food. And, we would spend that on beer. I can say that now that I'm out of the game. And for the food, we would go into the training room and into the offices there, and they would always have leftover donuts there. And we'd get some leftover donuts, and then we'd go down they'd be shutting up the snack bar if we get there in time, and they had 10, 15, 20 wieners in there. And we would get the wieners and the donuts, and usually the next morning we would put the wiener into the opening there of the donut, and we'd heat it up. Well, it kept the donut. The donuts would be so dry by that time. It livened them up. A little moisture in there from the oil there in the wiener, and we lived on that. We lived on that. People don't tell these stories about how tough it is in the minor league. Well, anymore, these kids sign the big bonus check, but back then we used to call those wiener and nuts, and they're real good.
And you wonder why guys like Brian Price fly off the handle and go crazy. They're baseball managers. They're nuts. They're crazy.
Sweet Lou.
All right, good stuff. Thank you, Officer Pete.
He's the best.
Yeah. How about that handiwork from Officer Pete?
He rocks.
Hey, Pete, will you come over and autograph it for me? The donut, I mean.
That is a one of a kind, man.
No, it's classic.
One of a kind.
Thank you. Stud. Officer Pete is a stud.
That's staying in our office. He
hit me up on Twitter yesterday. He goes, yeah, looking forward to meeting you guys, and now I know why. I didn't know he had a little handiwork.
Yeah, we walked in a lot of gifts this morning.
I don't have 2 bags of stuff from the Warriors like you do.
Wow.
If you want to talk about gifts. We tweeted out a picture. Follow us on Twitter at 95.7 The Game. You can see a picture of Lowe holding Officer Pete's Weiner and nuts. Check it out. It's beautiful. All right, coming up next is
so big.
Well, I don't have that
long,
problem.
Man. Wow, it's a big wiener.
If Officer Pete made one for me, they'd be like, why did they put a Tic Tac inside of that donut? I don't know.